الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين وعلى آله وأصحابه وأزواجه ومن تبعهم بإحسان إلى يوم الدين. أما بعد فأعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. ود كثير من أهل الكتاب لو يردونكم من بعد إيمانكم كفارا حسدا من عند أنفسهم من بعد ما تبين لهم الحق فاعفوا واصفحوا حتى يأتي الله بأمره إن الله على كل شيء قدير. صدق الله العظيم. For those of you who were with us in Salat al-Jum'ah, and if you recall, this is the same ayah that I recited at that time, but because you brothers and sisters, mashallah, have expressed Jum'ah over here, the time was very short, so we couldn't even go back to the ayah. So I thought we'll just start from there. It's an ayah that specifically I chose this ayah, and not an ayah that normally people would recite for talking about akhlaq, about morality. You won't see anyone normally reciting this ayah for this topic. And the reason for it is, there are many ayahs in Quran al-Kareem. There are so many ayahs in Quran al-Kareem that talk straightforward about behaviors, about akhlaq, about treating each other. But there are certain ayahs that when you look at them, it may seem that this ayah contradicts all of those teachings that we have been talking about regarding moralities and akhlaq. And therefore, for some reason, I like to select those ayahs to talk about, to see the level of morality that we learn in the light of the Quran and the seerah of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam. That even those ayahs, that just by looking at the translation of them, that normally it seems that the ayah may be contradicting some of the moral teachings of Islam, but if we look into the ayah and we try to understand the ayah in the context that it was revealed, we will realize that even these ayahs are really holding a very high standard of morality that normally people these days can never stand for. Before going any further, quickly, let's look at the gist of the ayah. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, there are many people out of the people of book who would hope to turn you away from your iman. This is one thing for us to remember, and especially for all of you being in an atmosphere where day and night you have to deal with those who may be part of what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala referring to in this ayah. وَدَّ كَثِيرٌ مِّنْ أَهْلِ الْكِتَابِ. Look at the wording. Many of the people of the book, they hope لَوْ يَرُدُّونَكُم مِّن بَعْدِ إِيمَانِكُمْ كُفَّارًا, to turn you away from iman into kufr. And the reason for turning you away is not because of a love. Every Muslim also feels and really loves to see all others are coming into the deen of Allah. But with all sincerity, if we look into our hearts at this time and just ask yourself quickly, why would you want others to embrace Islam? Why would you even think that you would like some other people to come to the deen of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? And you would find that it's really, with all sincerity, we can really answer to ourselves that it's because you would like that person to be saved from the punishment of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and the punishment of akhirah, and you want him to come on the sirat al-mustaqim. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, when the same thing is done from the other side, the reason is totally different. حَسَدًا مِّنْ عِنْدِ أَنفُسِهِمْ. If a person is trying to turn you away from your deen, it's not because he knows or she knows that there is truth over there and there is stronger proofs over there. In fact, the only reason is حَسَدًا مِّنْ عِنْدِ أَنفُسِهِمْ, jealousy of what you have. Why would you have something like this? Let me make this person lose what he has. Now, in that situation, what should be the command given to us? that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is pointing out that there are some people who would love to see you going away from your deen, and they will put their utmost effort turning you away from your deen, taking you away from deen. And the reason for all of that effort is grudge and jealousy and hatred for you. So what should I do next? Go and beat them up? Look at what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the level of morality that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is setting. Fa'fu wasfahu. Keep on forgiving. Keep on forgiving. Hatta ya'ti Allahu bi amri. Until Allah will make some decision on this matter. But for you, don't try to take revenge from those people. Don't work towards hurting those people. Okay, if he's trying to make me lose something that is valuable to me, I'll try to make him or her lose something that is valuable to this person. No. Quran says clearly, fa'fu wasfahu. Keep on ignoring that, keep on forgiving them. Where in the world you would find these type of instructions, where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, after pointing out the exact reason for what these people and others are doing to us, and still the instruction will come that I'm informing you so that you know, but your responsibility is not to take revenge, or is not to work against those people, is not to try to hurt those people. I'm teaching you so that you know that your responsibility against any person that you know carry grudge against you, has a jealousy against you, and he would like you to lose some of your most valuable things that you have in your life. If you find any of those people, fa'fu wasfahu. Keep on forgiving those people. And this is why the scholars of Islam, analyzing the akhlaq, the morality and the moral system of Islam, they say that the Islamic morality starts from the point where every other moral system ends. When they go to their peak and they arrive to the highest level of their moral system, Islamic morality starts from there. That's the first step of Islamic morality. And then it continues furthermore. How high it goes, we will try to look into that in the light of some of the ayahs and the hadiths of Quran, of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, inshallah, in this again very short time that we have for this topic. Normally, everywhere in the world, and especially these days when every country in the world is trying to prove that they are a great country. So, what do they normally say about proving that they are great? We are great. Why? Because we have justice in our country. We have justice. And be it the presidents of the countries, ministers, judges, lawyers, or normal residents of the country, they all will try to prove to us, no, there is justice in our country. So you tell someone, no, I was discriminated against, and the ruling that was issued was just as discrimination. And they would put their utmost effort to prove to us, no, it was not discrimination, we did the justice. Or at least we will do the justice. Which means that when we are talking about morality in this system, in the world at this time at large, justice is the highest level of morality. When there is a justice in a country, they will try to prove that we are a great country because we have justice. And of course, the same was the understanding of the people before Islam. At the time when Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam came to this world, people thought justice was something very great. And those who are not holding to justice, they will say, we have a lot of shortcomings and we cannot really get that good. We are not that good of a people to have justice in our system. And the best people were those who will have justice in their system. And again, we are back to the same type of Jahiliyyah nowadays, where people who have justice, they are considered to be the highest category of people, and then below them will be those who don't have justice, but they are trying to be good people. from the Islamic point of view, justice is the first step towards morality. What does this justice mean? Someone slaps you, and you slap the person back. A slap for a slap is a justice. One for one. You didn't do nothing wrong. You didn't slap him twice. You slapped him only once for once. Person did something wrong to you, you do the same thing in return. This is justice. When Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam came to this world, he realized that the world was running out of justice. In those days, if you pick up the histories of Islam, the days of the Jahiliyyah, and in fact the history of the world, and start looking at different wars that took place in the history of the world, most of those wars, they took place because someone did something wrong to another person, of another clan, of another country, of another town, and the people of that town were offended that how come a person from your town or from your country or from your clan did this to us, or a person from our clan, and now a war would start. And we find in the history some wars that went on for hundreds of years, and the starting point was a dog from your town came into our town and someone killed the dog. Some of those trivial things where they will have wars for years. And for one dog or for one person or for even say, let's exaggerate and say for 100 people that were killed, innocent people that were killed from one town, they will go and kill thousands of people from other town. On the name of we have to take revenge, we have to stand for our name, and we are the power, we are this, and you people from your country, people from your town, people from your neighborhood, how dare they came to our town, or how dare they did this to people from our town. And you people are so low that you should even respect our dogs and cats. And if our dog came over there, you should have respected the dog and fed the dog. And here someone from your country, he stoned our dog, we are not going to accept it. Now we will come with all of our troops to you. This was Jahiliyyah. Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam told people, adl, justice. Okay, if you want to take revenge, they killed one person, go and ask them to hand over that person to you, kill that man. But go and killing 100 people for one, killing human beings for that dog, this is totally injustice. Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam started from there that inna Allah ya'muru bil adl. Allah orders you to have adl, to have justice. Oh people, have justice in your system. So many complaints are received by Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam, where a wife would come and complain, Ya Rasulullah, my husband beat me up so much. He would call him, why did you do this? Oh, she said this to me. I mean, for that one word she said to you, you would punish her so much? Where is adl? Where is justice? People are killing their slaves in those days. What was the reason? Because he did not work properly. Was this the punishment for not doing the work properly? Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam once is passing by a person who was punishing his slave. He is beating him up. Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam called him from behind and he said, Ittaqillah, fear Allah. What are you doing? So he looks back. And to his surprise, he finds that this is Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam. So now he has to find an excuse. Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam has seen him doing that, and he has to present some reason why he was doing it. So he says, Ya Rasulullah, he is always disobeying me. Regardless of how much I explain to him, he doesn't listen. How many times do you want me to forgive him, Ya Rasulullah? And look at what Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam replies at that point. It's not that a complaint is received, that this person is always disobedient and is doing this, and the whole system is shouting now, yay, punish him, torture him. Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam's response to that person was, forgive him as many times as you want Allah to forgive you. Don't you make a mistake? Don't you commit a sin? And don't you want Allah to forgive you for those mistakes and sins? How many sins do you want Allah to forgive you each day? Forgive those people as many sins as you want Allah to forgive you. Treat human beings the way you want Allah to treat you. These are the creatures of Allah. They have a heart too. He could be a slave, but after all, you don't want to hurt him. You don't want to hurt his feelings more than he's already in now. And by those beautiful instructions received by Rasulullah through Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, Abu Dharr radiyallahu anhu, when he used to buy any dress, he would buy 2 pairs. And after buying the pair, look at what he's doing. Each pair, of course, has a top and a bottom. He will take a top of one and the bottom of another one and wear it himself. And then the top of the other one and the bottom of this one, he would give it to his slave to wear. So someone asked him, why do you do this? He said, because Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam informed us that these people have equal rights with us. And we should treat them equally the way we treat ourselves. And I know that both of these are same type of dress, but who knows, one of them will be a little better than other, and I would end up wearing that one. And I'm not doing justice to this person. Subhanallah. Look at the level of this justice. And who are slaves? Normally, when the word slave comes, right away many of our people hope, oh, we wish this word is not used. Oh, don't use the word slave. If others will hear us, they will mock Islam, or they will find a reason to raise objections against Islam. Look, Islam stands for slavery, and it's still up to this day you people talk about those slaveries and you don't refute it, you don't reject it. No, we don't. We still accept it. And we are proud of that system of Islam too. Because you know what is that system? Those are the prisoners of war. What the world does to the prisoners of war. Just see what is happening to the prisoners of war in the world. What any system says about them. What any religion says about them. What any country does with these people. And then come back to the deen of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and see what Islam says about them. These slaves, the word slave, normally people cannot tolerate it anymore. The reason is because they have not seen that slavery of Islam, because that was over a long time ago. They have not seen that one. They have seen another slavery that was totally against the Islamic way of having slaves. Islamic system of slavery. Going and buying people from their children, from their parents, buying children from their parents, buying people from their rulers. This is not slavery in Islam. This is haram in Islam. Slavery does not come in this way and form. Those are prisoners of war. And instead of killing those people, instead of putting them in prison for life and torturing them and making them a burden on the society, Islam says, why not put them back into the system? Let them be free people, walk out there with people, live with people. And at the same time, there won't be a burden on the society. So now each family, take one person and you take care of that person. Make sure now you treat him equally, and there are so many instructions, we don't even have time to go into those. This is not our topic at this time. But if you start looking at the rules of slavery and how to treat them, and then at the same time keep in mind who they are, you would be surprised that this is how Islam teaches us to deal with those prisoners of war. You are putting them back into the society. You are letting them free, not in prisons. Subhanallah. Where you can find a better system for those people. And if you give, even up to today, if you give those people the choice between the three, what do you think? Should I kill him? Or should I keep you in the prison for life? Or should I put you back into the society? One person will be in charge of you. You have to be responsible to that person. We won't care of how and what you do with that person, what type of dealing you make with that person, and he has that person that you live with who will be in charge of you, he will also have the right to let you go whenever he wants. If tomorrow he decides that he would like to let you go, he can do that. He's free to do that. Prove yourself. SubhanAllah. If that person will take a false oath, one of the ways for him to pay off for his false oath is to set you free. And he's washed of his sin. SubhanAllah. Setting him free, setting a prisoner of war free, and you're getting free of your sin? What type of system that is? Look at the beauty of it. And there are so many rulings about it. If we go into it, we'll be just spending the whole day or the whole session just talking about that. Anyway. So we were talking about Abu Dharr radiallahu anhu. This is how he's treating his slave. That giving him everything equally. This is why when you read the biographies of many of these people who were slaves, you will realize that they were given the choice by these Sahaba Ridwanullahi alayhim ajma'in to be set free, and they decided they don't want to take that. They don't want to accept that. Of course, a person who have lived in a house of a Sahabi, setting free means you don't live with me anymore. Go and make your own living. So that person says, no, I rather live with you. I want to stay with you. I want to spend my life with you. This is the type of life they have seen. Just like Zayd radiallahu anhu, when his parents came, his father came, his uncle came, that come on, let's go back, your mother is waiting. He says, no way. Not after spending time with Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, no way that I can leave this person and go anywhere else anymore. That's it. Give my mother my salam, tell her I'm doing fine here, I'm happy here. This is adl. This is all when these people did the adl, they did the justice with these people, with all kind of people, with people of every category, of every level. This is the adl of Islam. When that is the time when people started coming into the deen of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And they were so impressed by this deen of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that they would prefer to live a life of slavery in Islam and with the people of Islam, with those who have adl, than going back to their countries and living a life as a free person, and a person who may even have ownerships of a lot of things, and he may own his own home and his own business, but they say, no, we are not going to live under that system anymore. And there are so many examples of it. This is called adl. Islam says this is the first step, because when a person does not do the adl, he is not doing justice, simply means the person is committing a sin. When you don't even have justice, what do you have? Then there is injustice. Below that, there is no justice. And if there is no justice, then it's sin for us to be in that type of position where we are not doing even justice. So it's not, oh, I'm trying to be good, and I'm really good, it's only I cannot do justice at this time. Our system is so corrupted at this time that we cannot stand for justice, but still we are good people. No, Islam says then you are committing a sin when there is no adl in the system. So at a time when the world is trying to prove to us adl is the highest level of morality, Islam is telling us adl is the first level of morality. Below that, it's totally immorality and it's sin and it's disobedience to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Now, what will be the second step? Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam told us that it's better to forgive people. Instead of just adl, justice, always looking for justice, that a slap for a slap, afu, forgive people. وَأَن تَعْفُوا وَتَصْفَحُوا وَتَغْفِرُوا فَإِنَّ اللَّهَ غَفُورٌ رَحِيمٌ. If you forgive others, Allah will forgive you. What a beautiful example we have in one of the ayahs of Al-Quran Al-Kareem that refers to Sayyidina Abu Bakr as-Siddiq radiyallahu anhu. At a time when the kuffar, munafiqeen especially, they blamed Aisha radiyallahu anha for a lot of things, wal-'iyāzu billah. Things that a normal Muslim woman would never think of getting into that situation, as Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam says in the hadith, لا يزني الزاني حين يزني وهو مؤمن. A person who commits adultery at the time of committing it, he is not a mu'min and she is not a mu'min. ولا يسرق السارق حين يسرق وهو مؤمن. A person who is stealing at the time of committing that act, he or she is not a mu'min. And they blamed Aisha radiallahu anha wal-'iyāzu billah for something of that kind. One of the people who took part in it, we normally have a habit. Someone says something about a person and now everyone just starts talking about it. This is something forbidden in Islam. Against the moralities, again, against the morality system that Islam sets for us. Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said in a hadith, if I remember the wordings of the hadith, I'll inshallah quote it to you later. The meaning of the hadith is a person who just keep on narrating everything that he hears. That person كَفَى بِالْمَرْءِ كَذِبًا أَن يُحَدِّثَ بِكُلِّ مَا سَمِعَ. A person who keeps on narrating everything that he hears from others about others, that person is a liar. The literal meaning would be, it's enough for a person to be a liar that he keeps on narrating everything about others. You did not confirm it. You are not sure if this is true. You heard it from someone. You don't know where he got it from. And you start telling others about it. This is a lie. And you are considered to be one of the liars, although you are not making it up. You heard it from someone else. You are not lying. But Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam says that you may be spreading the lie against that person. Spreading the rumor against that person, and you are considered to be a liar in the Sharia of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So one of the people who took part in it, he did not initiate it, but as he heard people speaking about it, that Aisha radiallahu anha committed this, wal-'iyāzu billah, and he said it to others. His name was Mistah. Mistah was Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu's nephew. Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu used to take care of all of his necessities of the life, which means on a monthly basis he's paying him certain amount of money to take care of his needs. Now a person who was receiving so many favors from Sayyidina Abu Bakr as-Siddiq radiyallahu anhu, it did not suit him to take part in that, and especially if he was not sure about it. When Abu Bakr radiyallahu anhu heard that Mistah also took part in it, he took an oath that I will never help Mistah again. Now, looking at our understanding and the morality laws set nowadays that we see around, did Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu do anything wrong? He used to help that person. That person accused his daughter, and not just his daughter. From the other hand, she is like his mother, al-Mu'mineen, the mother of all believers, Aisha radiallahu anha, the wife of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam. No one is more beloved to Abu Bakr than Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam. In fact, it won't be wrong to say no one loves Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam more than Abu Bakr. When he heard that someone have accused not only my daughter, he accused my daughter, he accused the wife of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam by something like this, so serious, something so unacceptable that I really cannot forgive this person anymore. And I'm not going to hurt him. I'm not going to say a single word against him. I'm not going to accuse him in return. All I will do is I won't help him anymore. I don't feel like helping him. What would the world say about this position of Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu? Look at what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in Quran. وَلَا يَأْتَلِ أُولُو الْفَضْلِ مِنْكُمْ وَالسَّعَةِ. This is in Surah An-Nur. وَلَا يَأْتَلِ أُولُو الْفَضْلِ مِنْكُمْ وَالسَّعَةِ أن يؤتوا أولي القربى والمساكين والمهاجرين في سبيل الله وليعفوا وليصفحوا ألا تحبون أن يغفر الله لكم. Those who have wealth and those who are the people of fadl, which means who do favors to others, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless them with that type of kindness and behavior that they always help others. They should never take oath of not helping muhajirin and fuqara and the needy people and the believers وَلْيَعْفُوا. They should forgive. They should let go. أَلَا تُحِبُّونَ يَغْفِرَ اللَّهُ لَكُمْ. Don't you want Allah to forgive you? As soon as this ayah was recited to Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu, right away his response was, Bala ya Rab, Bala ya Rab. Yes, Ya Allah, I would like you to forgive me. Please, Ya Allah, forgive me. And now he says, I will fast for the 3 days that I have to fast for breaking the oath, and I will give Mistah double than what I used to give him before. I will give him double the amount of what I used to give him before. Subhanallah. This is what Quran is teaching. This is what Deen is teaching. And imagine who's reciting this ayah to Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu. Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. What would be his feeling at that time? That Mistah, he did this. He said this about my wife. But no. Allah says, وَلْيَعْفُوا وَلْيَصْفَحُوا. So he's teaching Abu Bakr, you should forgive. And right away Abu Bakr says, that's it. I'll do more than what I used to do before. This is the second level of morality that Islam teaches us. The first was adl, justice. The second, afu, forgiving. Islam says still there is much more that you need to do. And you need to go further with your moralities, with your behavior, with your treatment to others. Just afu is not enough. In afu, normally a person, he lets the person go, but inside he may be boiling. He's boiling inside. I feel why, but no, I'm not going to do nothing. I'll just let it go. For the sake of Allah, I will forgive him. But Islam says, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, go beyond that and be a type of person who will have the habit of doing ihsan to others. This is the third level. What does ihsan means? Ihsan simply means this person, if you take that example of slapping you, that person who slapped you, not only that you don't take revenge from this person. If you take revenge slap for a slap, that will be adl. You did not take revenge, you let it go, that was afu. But you are thinking this person may have hurt his hand. Let me see if he's doing okay. Let me ask him. This is ihsan, when you are feeling for that person instead of feeling for yourself. One of the scholars of Islam, traveling with the students, on their way they had another person accompanied them. That person was of a habit like, normally I would say like me, that trying to find faults in everything these people are doing, and he's, especially when he sees everyone is respecting that sheikh. So now he's going to all the students, look, you're telling me a sheikh, look what he does. Look, he did this. Now, the sheikh finds out that this is what this person is doing, and at the same time, he finds out some of the students are very emotional now. They are almost ready to take care of this man. So he calls them. He says to them, if you would like to stay with me, and if you truly are my students, you are not allowed to do nothing to this person. Don't do nothing to this person. After spending a day, when this person left, this sheikh says to the students that, look, I'm really feeling for this man. I feel sorry for this person. They said, why? Why do you feel sorry for him? He lived with us only for 1 day, and we were so disturbed by him. I don't know how he was going to manage with himself for the rest of his life. He lived with us for only 1 day. He has to live with himself for the rest of his life. And imagine a person with that type of behavior, that he's just trying to find faults in every person. He's just trying to fight everyone. He's going to hurt himself one day. And nevertheless, he's never in peace. He's always trying to find something wrong. And look, this person is doing this wrong. That person is doing that wrong. That third person is doing that wrong. And he's never have a peace of mind. So I feel sorry for him. He has to manage with himself for the rest of his life. For us, he was with us, he was only 1 day. Ihsan, forgiving. A person comes to Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. While Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam was riding his camel and he's traveling, that person who happens to be a villager, and villagers are very straightforward, and sometimes they go beyond being just straightforward. I think a simple word may be little harsh. And that person went and he pulled Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam with a sheet. He's covering himself with a sheet. He pulls him with a sheet from the back. Imagine the camel is driving up front, and this person goes from the back and he pulls the sheet to stop Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. You want to stop him, you stop the camel first. But no, this is the way he chose. So Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam stopped and he looked back. And when he looked back, now the next thing that comes is even more than the first part. That villager says to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, Ya Muhammad, أعطني من بعض مال الله الذي عندك. Give me some of the wealth that you have, which means of the sadaqat. فإنما هو ليس بمالك أو مال أبيك. That's not yours or your father's money. What? You are looking for sadaqah, and this is the way to ask for it? Let someone come and talk to us in that way today. Not pulling us or touching us at all. That will be something beyond imagination. The world will turn over. The imam and the president and the whole board will have to sit now to talk to that person after that one. But let him just come and tell us that's not yours or your father's money. You have to give it out as a sadaqah. Give it to me. I deserve it. This is how he's talking to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam in the presence of Sahaba ridwanullahi alayhim ajma'in. What an insult to our understanding. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam looks at him and he says, what a truthful statement that is. It's not mine or my father's money. Subhanallah. Yes, this is a very true statement. It's not my money. It's not my father's money. But why did you pull it so hard? Look at the mark of the sheet on my neck. He says, you're a prophet of Allah. You're supposed to forgive. MashaAllah. He learned that. Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam smiles to that person and he says to some of the Sahaba, go and give it to him. Give him all this, whatever he needs. Imagine a Sahabi comes into the masjid. A person comes, he embraces Islam, and after that he doesn't know no rules, he doesn't know nothing, he goes and starts urinating at one of the corners of the masjid. Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, Sahaba ran after the person to stop him. He said, no, la tuzrimu, da'u. Let him finish now. He started it. If you run after him, now this is wisdom really, hikmah, that if you run after the man, he's going to spoil the whole masjid. Da'u. Leave him alone. When he was done, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam called him, and now he says to him that these masajid are not built for this purpose. The purpose of the masajid is not to come and urinate in the masajid. Looking for a masjid, why? I need to use a bathroom. This is not the purpose of the masajid. Then he mentioned the purpose of building the masajid. Subhanallah, because of that mistake of that Sahabi, we got a list from Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam informing us of what is the purpose of the masajid and what are the main things that are supposed to be done in the masajid. But now, after he was done and he called him and explained that to him, he did not tell him to go and clean it. He says to some of those who ran after him, who were trying to go and stop him, he says to them, go bring some buckets of water and clean that place. Those people are going to clean it. Teaching them that when a person makes a mistake, it's not that, okay, he has to pay for it. We are going to teach him a lesson. And if he didn't learn, if he didn't know it, today he's going to learn. SubhanAllah. I mean, these are things for us to learn. These are hadiths. This is how he dealt with people. These are the practical lessons that we get from the life of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. So ihsan, feeling for others. What will be his feeling at this time? Thinking about every other person's feeling, that I just have to make sure that he's not hurt. He's not in pain. He's not suffering. There are so many examples. Really, as I'm talking now, and I look at those, and these hadiths and these examples from the seerah crossing my mind, it's even difficult to choose anyone out of them because the time is over anyway. So quickly now, skipping all of the examples and all of this, quickly understanding the moral system, the moral system of Islam. 3 steps. It starts with adl, with justice. This is the first level. Going above that is afu, forgiving people. No matter what our feeling is, no matter how hot we are, how much we are boiling, and how much the shaitan would try to convince us that no, he should learn a lesson because he does this to everyone. So you should teach him a lesson because everyone says that, mashallah, you're a good person. You can do this for him. You can teach him a lesson. No. Let someone else do that. For me, let me hold to afu at least. And Islam says, go beyond that. Ihsan. Go and talk to the person. Sit with this man. Tell him, what are you doing to yourself? Brother, you hit me. Okay? But this was only once that you did to me. If you do it to someone else, the other person may get up and do something in return to you. You have to be careful. Talk to this person. Sit with him. This is ihsan, feeling for others. And subhanallah, when it comes to this ihsan, feeling for others, there's the whole life of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Really, if you look at it, it was a life of ihsan. The whole life was a life of ihsan. Beautiful examples, beautiful things in the seerah, beautiful hadith. You can study it, you will see it yourself, inshallah. But I just have to quickly move to the next point, and that is, what is the way for us to acquire these things? As we started talking about it in Jum'ah, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam informs us that there were 2 purposes for which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Teaching us our beliefs, ibadah, this is number 1, putting both of them together, which we normally call it ibadah, and deen, and teaching us the akhlaq. We talked about those hadiths and ayahs in Jum'ah, where Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam have informed us of these 2 purposes for coming to the world. Teaching people their iman, their a'mal, ibadah of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and teaching them their akhlaq, how to behave, how to live. These are the 2 things that Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam came to teach. And both of these things, Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam did not get them just by guessing the right thing. Both of these things he got them from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the form of wahy and revelation. Both of these. He got them in the form of revelation. So now, whatever came through wahy, we should learn it from the same sources. And that is, we cannot just guess, okay, it looks to me that we are doing very good according to our behaviors, our treatment to others, our morality, I'm really doing good. And this is what my understanding tells me. No, don't just go with that. Learn these from the wahy, from the same sources that Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam learned, and then he taught us. He says in the hadith, "Addabani Rabbi fahsana ta'dibi." My Rabb subhanahu wa ta'ala taught me the adab. He is the one who taught me this adab, and therefore he taught me the best adab. So in order for us to have adab, respect, good behaviors, we need to learn that from Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Aqaid, which means beliefs. A'mal, ibadat, salah, zakah, fasting, hajj, and all the other ibadat. And our akhlaq, behaviors with others. All of these 3 things, we need to learn them from Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Which simply means you can use one word for all 3 of them, and that is Islam. That is deen. That is our sharia. Sharia is not just aqaid. Sharia is not just a'mal. Sharia is not just akhlaq. Sharia is the name of all 3 things together. When we put all these 3 together, now you have a complete sharia. In order for us to learn the sharia now, we need to learn these 3 things, all of them, how to learn. Where we know that if we are making a mistake, remember, as I said, these things came to us through wahy, we will learn them through the wahy. And we will learn them exactly the same way as Sahaba Ridwanullahi alayhim ajma'in learned it from Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Then they taught these things to their students. And their students taught them to their students. And up to this day, we are learning it in the same manner. All of you people are here in the university so that you will spend the time in the classes, in this atmosphere to learn whichever field you are in. if you just stay home or go and sit in the library and study as many books as you want, and there may be people who may think that, okay, there is no need for me to go and waste a lot of time over there in the class. The teacher goes very slow. What I'm going to do is I will see at the courses that these people take, and not only these books, I will within the same amount of years, I will spend double the amount of books. And I will study double the amount of books, and I will study them myself without having to going to university or going to any school. Of course, regardless of how much that person would study, he will not be considered a person of the field. No one will consider him a person who's good in his field. A person says, I'm a physician. How did you become a physician? I read all these books that these people read. And I read beyond that. Beyond that, I read this. And if he's sitting in front of the physician, he's going to ask him, did you read this book? An extra book? No, I didn't. Did you read this one, this one, this one? No. But I read all of these in addition to what you read. But still, people, when they need a treatment, they are not going to come to me because I read all of those books. They will go to a physician. I'm telling them, brothers, sisters, you come to me. I've learned more than this person. You are not certified. You have not got the information from the right sources. And nothing is more practical than Islam. Nothing is more practical than Islam. And akhlaq is only practice. There is nothing but practice in akhlaq. And therefore, if we learn our deen, and if we need to learn our akhlaq, we will learn them only from those who really have adopted this akhlaq, these akhlaq of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. What is it that normally keeps us away? Number one, most of the time, we cannot learn our deen because of not having the importance for it. A person doesn't have no importance of deen. My importance is that of my life. What type of life I'm going to live in this world? What is my future? So I want to live a good life where I will have this type of castle and this type of business and this type of family, and this is what I want to do. So the whole point and the goal of the life is just to make this living in this world, and then wait for you, then retire and wait for until you die, and then that's it, the person is gone. This is all what this person wants from this life. For those people, of course, they have to learn what is their own value, that they are not sent to this world just to eat and drink. They are not just sent to this world just to enjoy a few things of this worldly material. There is much more beyond this. There are some realities that are coming after this world. There is a long life that is coming after this one that we have to prepare for and work for. Number two, there are many people who have the importance, but they have not set a schedule in their life to learn deen. When we don't set a schedule, then of course it will be only, okay, I will inshallah do it in the evening. In the evening the person thinks tomorrow morning. Morning they'll have no time, and this is many of us may be in that position. That we are spending our life just thinking that I will do it next time. And that next time never comes. I will do it tomorrow. Ramadan, okay, I'll do it next Ramadan. From Ramadan it goes to another Ramadan. Hajj to another Hajj. And day to another day, okay, today I'm too tired and I missed so many Fajr anyway, so I'll start tomorrow inshallah. And that tomorrow never comes. This is the second reason for it. So make a schedule of your life. That, okay, this much time of my daily schedule will be spent only for the deen of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. For example, there are so many of my friends, they would like me to write them letters or respond to their letters when they write me at one. And I think, okay, I'll do it tomorrow. In my pocket here I have a letter. I have to mail it out. Now, someone gave me this letter. This is a burden on my shoulder. Since I have a letter that is already ready for it to go, all what I have to do is put a stamp on it, send it out. Now, if I don't send it, carrying it with me is a burden. But when I don't have this letter with me, then I'll think, okay, I'll write one tomorrow. For me to send one, I will write one tomorrow. When you don't have time specified for you to learn deen and practice deen, then you will always think, I'll do it tomorrow. But if you have time designated for it, half an hour. Now, I have to do something with this half an hour to use it for the deen. Let me find out what to do. It's a burden on your shoulder now. This is why working people, I tell them that assign certain percentage of your earning to go as a sadaqah. Normally we think I'll give a lot of sadaqah, and then when I have this much money as these doctors and these engineers, these lawyers have, oh, I'll be building masjid by myself. And they thought the same thing when they were in our position. The only reason people are not able to do it, nothing is specified. So now, I'll do it tomorrow and next year, and when my income will go to that level, and that time never comes. If you fix, 10% is going out. Now, when you get a check, you know that this 10% does not belong to you. So now it's a burden on your shoulder that you're carrying it with you. Let me find out what are the sources, where can I spend? Now you'll be looking out for it because there is some burden on your shoulder. Same thing, specify some time. Make a schedule and look at the time and then specify the time. And at the end of the day, if you find out that you cheated yourself and you did not spend the time that was specified for the deen of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, then take the time away of your rest, or take the time away of your dinner, take the time away of some things that you normally enjoy. Something that you normally enjoy, take that time away and at least punish yourself that if I did not do that, I'm not going to do this today. So, making a daily schedule. And we know classes and everything, if there are no schedules, nothing will run out smoothly. This is number 2. Number 3. Many people are not able to do it because their whole life is based on hopes. As Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, لَيْسَ بِأَمَانِيكُمْ وَلَا أَمَانِيَ أَهْلِ الْكِتَابِ. There was a time when, during the time of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, the Muslims and the people of book, they were arguing, who will go to Jannah? So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, replying to that, says, لَيْسَ بِأَمَانِيكُمْ وَلَا أَمَانِيَ لِلْكِتَابِ. It does not depend on your hopes, talking to the Muslims. It does not depend on your hopes or the hopes of the people of book. So Muslims, don't think that even you can go just by hoping for Jannah and oh, because I'm a Muslim, we are doing great. No. لَيْسَ بِأَمَانِيكُمْ وَلَا أَمَانِيَ الْكِتَابِ مَنْ يَعْمَلْ سُوءًا يُجْزَ بِهِ. If you do wrong, you will be punished for it. It's not just hopes. You do wrong, you will be punished for that. Many times our whole life of deen, the side of the deen is only hopes. And the side of the dunya is practical. The person wakes up. He has to be in the class 9 o'clock, he'll be there 9 o'clock. He has to wake up for Fajr, he says, okay, a little later. So deen goes only with hopes, and the worldly life goes with practice, practical. Of course, then it's not going to work. Make the deen part of your practical life, where when the time comes, you do it. It's not just hopes. Then okay, inshallah, I will get so many reward by doing one, and each reward salah is for 50 prayers, so one done and one is done, I'm out for 10 days. No, it's not that. Don't just have hopes in deen. And really, if we go into this detail, you will realize how many times we may be making that mistake of just making our deen based on hopes and dunya based on realities. Nothing is more real than this deen of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Make it a reality of the life. Number 4, very important thing, as I said earlier, that many times we try to learn it, we spend time, but not from the right sources. A person wants to read a book and then wants to practice it himself. Wants to read an ayah and would like to put it in practice himself. It does not work. And that is the reason Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam used to, in spite of being Prophet of Allah and having Sahaba around him at all times, every year he would spend 10 days at least in i'tikaf. One of the years he spent the whole month in i'tikaf. Why? Day and night he's with Sahaba Ridwanullahi alayhim ajma'een. They are being with him day and night, learning each and every detail of his life. Practical lessons from Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam. And of course, then we have people of Sufa who have devoted their lives for that. So, practical things. So spend some time. Know who you're going to learn your deen from. Look for people that you can trust for your deen, regardless of who those people are. And then learn deen from those people by spending time with those people, so that you have some practical ideas of how to deal with situations and how to put these things into practice. really, if we just look at the information we have enough information in most of the situations. We have enough information about our deen. It's only we are not able to put it into practice. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala guide all of us to Salat al-Mustaqim and give us tawfiq to put this deen into practice, learn it from the right sources, and make us the true believers and the true followers of Muhammad Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. أقول قولي هذا وأستغفر الله لي ولكم ولسائر المسلمين والمسلمات وآخر دعوانا الحمد لله رب العالمين.
Inshallah, we have about 25 minutes for questions and answers. So please feel free to ask any questions that you have. Both brothers and sisters.
I have a question. This relates, when we receive good news, I know, I perform, 2 nafil prayers, nafil prayers. Can we do something more than just offering prayers and giving more sadaqah? Can we, is there something else that we can do?
The question is, if you receive a good news, of course, we learn in the light of a hadith that Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam at certain occasions he performed 2 rak'ah salah, which is called salat al-shukr, thanking Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for the great favor that the person received. So what else you can do? Of course, as you mentioned, that we can do the sadaqah also, that giving some charity, or any of the good deeds as thanking Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for whatever we have received. Of course, we can never pay Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for anything. It's only showing gratefulness to Allah, because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala loves those who are grateful. So just being grateful to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, performing some extra ibadahs, as when Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam was informed by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that he has no sin, and still he is up doing salat al-tahajjud for the whole night. He was asked that, Ya Rasulullah, why do you have to stand the whole night now? Your feet are swollen. Why don't you have rest? Allah has forgiven all of your sins. You have no sin. He says, أَفَلَا أَكُونُ عَبْدًا شَكُورًا. Shouldn't I be grateful to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? So doing as much as we can in the ibadahs.
You had mentioned the story that the Muslims and the non-Muslims, or the Christians rather, they were arguing as to who will go to Jannah. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, don't depend just your hopes. Was he just referring to the Muslims, or was it also in fact the Christians? Does that mean that the Christians, if they're practical, they will also end up in Jannah?
The question is about the ayah that we just referred to, that لَيْسَ بِأَمَانِيكُمْ وَلَا أَمَانِيَ أَهْلِ الْكِتَابِ, that does not depend on hopes. So now, does it refers to non-Muslims also, that if they are practical and they do practice whatever they have learned, they can go to Jannah also? No, of course not, because if we Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in other ayahs of Al-Quran Kareem very strictly puts the conditions of Iman, and for Iman he explains what to believe in. So there has to be, the aqaid need to be correct, and the Iman has to be there, and Iman in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Iman in the Prophet of Allah alayhi salatu wasalam, and the other things that are mentioned in Quran and the Hadith. So believing in these things is must.
It is always encouraged to make your inside much like your outside, and to always be consistent. And in another sense, not everyone can improve themselves all at once at the same time. It's very hard to do that. Is it recommended to be consistent and sort of not make an effort to improve on anything? Of course not. But is it okay to improve on some areas and not be consistent, and inshallah make the intention to move in that direction to improve yourself?
The question is that Sharia always requires us that we should be outside as good as we are inside, or inside as good as we are outside. So it's not that a person only showing others and inside does not carry those feelings and the reality of what he's trying to show others. Of course, we have control over the practical things of our life. So this is what we are responsible for, that we will put things into practice. And once we put it into practice, simply means, inshallah, by sincerity, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will put those type of things into our hearts also, and will open up our hearts to accept those things also. But if a person does not even put it into practice, then he will not be able to put it into his heart. He will not be able to accept the thing if he is not practicing, or she is not practicing the thing himself.
I was talking to somebody and was told to ask, like, you know how we commit sins and we ask Allah to forgive us, then we do it again and ask Allah to forgive us, and we do it again and ask Allah to forgive us. But we have an intention of not doing it, but we keep doing it. Does Allah forgive us?
If a person makes a mistake, commits a sin, and then with all sincerity asks Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for forgiveness and does not have no intention of repeating that sin, but by mistake ends up committing it again. And again this person with all sincerity repents to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, asks Allah for forgiveness, but ends up doing the same mistake again. Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam says, as long as the person is sincere in seeking Allah's forgiveness and in promising Allah that he would not be doing it again, even if he would commit the same sin 70 times a day, he will get the forgiveness 70 times a day. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala loves forgiving, but He does not, of course, appreciate us making joke of it or playing with it. So, as long as we have sincerity and we really don't want to go back to it, and wallahu alam, we have our weaknesses, and a person may end up doing it more than 100 times a day. As long as sincerity is there, the person will be forgiven, and not only will be forgiven, this is one thing for sure that I can tell you, that if a person will continue seeking Allah's forgiveness each time he or she has committed that mistake, gradually Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will even protect this person from those type of sins.
This is just a follow-up. Isn't there practical ways also part of asking for forgiveness, like changing your habits that might lead?
Right. Now, what are the practical ways of seeking the forgiveness so that we are proving ourselves that we are trying to change? It's not that word of a mouth. Imam Nawawi rahimahullah in Riyadh al-Salihin have narrated, of course, something that all the ulama agrees upon, but I'm just referring to this so if in case anyone wants to go back and revise it and keep on reminding himself or herself about it, that he says there are 3 conditions for getting the forgiveness from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Number 1, أن يقلع عن المعصية, that the person gives up that sin right away. It's not that while the person is committing the sin and astaghfirullah, astaghfirullah, astaghfirullah. Oh, look at that. Astaghfirullah, astaghfirullah. So, it's not that. أن يقلع عن المعصية, to give up that sin right away. Number 2, to make a firm intention that he will not go back to that sin. أن يعزم عزما جازما ألا يعود إليها. Make a firm intention, I will never do it again, Ya Allah. Number 3, أن يندم عليها, to feel sorry for committing that sin. It's not, oh, I had no choice. Ya Allah, forgive me, but what can I do? It's not that. Not finding an excuse for ourselves. With all sincerity, repenting to Allah, Allah, it was my mistake. And I admit it. And I promise you I will not do it again. And number 3, as we said, the first one was to give it up right away. With these 3 conditions, the person will get the forgiveness of the sin. But again, another practical point that comes there, I'm sure all of you remember that hadith, which is in Sahih al-Bukhari, and then the details of that hadith is in Biography and many other books of hadith, where a person who killed 99 people, without going into the details of it, when he went to he killed one more when the person told him that he cannot get no forgiveness. Then he went to another person. And that person said to him, if you really would like to get the forgiveness of Allah, you cannot do it by staying here. Because you are living amongst the people who encourage you to commit sins, or the same company of people where you were before. And you won't be able to give up that sin now. So what you have to do is, اذهب إلى قرية فلان. Go to another town over there. There are some virtuous people in that town. Spend some time with them. If you do that, then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will forgive you because you have taken some practical steps in your life to change. Staying over here, you may think you don't want to do it, but you will end up, because of the company that you're in, you will end up doing it again. So take some practical steps. Go to that town. That person started going, and the hadith says that he died on his way before arriving there. But as he took the practical step, Now the malaika of the rahmah came, that this person was going over there to change. And the malaika of adhab came, but he did not arrive. We are going to take him to the punishment. And we are going to take him to Jahannam. Now, فَاخْتَصَمَتْ فِيهِ مَلَائِكَةُ الرَّحْمَةِ وَمَلَائِكَةُ الْعَذَابِ. Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam says, now both of these angels started arguing about it. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent another angel with the message, أَنْقِيسُوا مَا بَيْنَهُمَا. Measure the distance between the two towns and see if he's closer to the town where he have committed these sins, then take him to Jahannam. The malaika of adhab will take him. And if he is closer to the town where he was going to be with those people, then take him to Jannah. What's your guess? Which town was closer to him?
He was in the middle.
No. Then they will need another fourth set of angels. So, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam says, when they started measuring it, he was closer to the town where he had committed the sin. فَأَوْحَى اللَّهُ إِلَى هَذِهِ أَن تَقَرَّبِي وَإِلَى هَذِهِ أَن تَبَاعَدِي. Allah sent a message to the town where he had committed the sin, get away from him. And to the town where he was going to, that get closer to him. By the time they measured it, they found that he was closer to the town where he was going, and he was forgiven. Practical step.
I have a question. If a person practices one part of the deen very strictly and the other part relaxed in it, for example, if they miss some prayers and miss other important stuff, other fara'id, but they're very strict in one area, for example, only eating halal and dhabiha, and is that considered nifaq or what is it considered?
If a person is holding to few rules of Islam and then neglecting the others, what's the ruling about it? Of course, we should appreciate the good things that this person is doing and try to encourage the person to do good in other parts of the life too. Many times really I see that our attitude in that situation becomes very strange, and that is, look at him, he does salah and then he does that on the other hand. So we try to accuse his salah also, that why does he do salah for? In other words, it's better that we would like to see that person even stopping the salah. How many times we hear the word, look, he's a Hajj, he did Hajj, and now he does this. Alhamdulillah, he did Hajj. If you didn't do it, you do Hajj too. He did something good, alhamdulillah, in his life. Sayyidina Usman bin Affan radiallahu anhu, when he was surrounded by those people who were the fitna, and Usman radiallahu anhu was not allowed to leave his home. At that time, someone went and asked Usman radiallahu anhu, he said, these people are leading the salah. The head of the fitna is leading the salah in the masjid. And we don't want to perform salah behind them. Look at what Usman radiallahu anhu said. Subhanallah, this is something that Sahaba Ridwanullah Ajma'in learned, and you can learn it only from Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, from a prophet of Allah. Usman radiallahu anhu's response was that the best thing people do in their life is salah. So when he's doing salah, do the salah with him. When he does something wrong, stay away from him. So in that situation, we should really try to encourage the person for the good things that the person is doing, and at the same time reminding him of the other wrongdoings that the person is doing, not accusing him that why are you doing this good, and in other words, it will be a direction of stopping him from doing those good also. And this is why many people, you ask the person, brother, grow your beard, mashallah, become a man. So he says, I'm sorry. So the response is, I'm not that good of a Muslim yet. So at least do one good thing, do another good thing. I'm not that good of a Muslim to call adhan. Subhanallah, why can't you call adhan? At least stand this. What's stopping you from doing this? Thinking that I'm doing so many other wrong things in my life, he doesn't want to do this either. No, start with whatever you can and encourage people to do the good whatever they can.